Hi everyone, this is Anna Harms. I'm joined by Wendy Wagner and Kevin Bullard from Michigan Data Hub, and this video is going to provide a demonstration of how to sign up to use the MyMTSS data system. So first I want to show you where you can find some more information about the MyMTSS data system. Right now I'm on the MyMTSS TA Center website, and that web address is mymtsstac.org. From the homepage on the website, you can click on the evaluation tab from that main menu. And from there, you can click right here on MyMTSS data system. That will bring up this page, which provides a little bit of information on what the data system is, some of the advantages of using the data system to support MTSS in your district or ISD. And the process that we're about to explain in this video is available right here in this PDF here. It's called the MyMTSS Data System Sign Up Process. So we're just going to walk through live today all of the contents that are printed and typed out here with screenshots in this PDF. So I'm going to pause a second and also have Kevin show you where you can find information about the MyMTSS data system in the Data Hub catalog.
Excellent, thank you, Anna. My name is Kevin Bullard. I work with the Michigan Data Hub as the Data Integration System Support Manager. So I want to really quick provide you a walkthrough of our website and the product catalog entry for the MTSS program. So if you navigate to www.mydatahub.org, you're going to come to this landing page. From here, if you click on the product catalog link, do a keyword search for MTSS. What that will do is it will pull up a product catalog entry, is what it's called in the MyDataHub website world. What that is it provides you a little background on what the MTSS is, talks a little bit about the collaborative work that we're doing with the TA Center, along with our team with the MyDataHub and MDE. And this piece right here will eventually grow into providing more documentation, more functionality, and more availability of documentation. But for right now, our website provides educators with a quick overview of what the MTSS software is, how it works with MyDataHub. It also is going to provide you a direct link to the MyMTSS Technical Assistance Center by clicking here. And you also will have contact information for Anna and Candy. And then we also have a documentation link, which is going to provide you currently the document that Anna already pulled up during her session, but it's also going to have further documentation as the system rolls out further.
Fabulous, so thanks, Anna. Kevin. Okay, so I'm gonna take us back over to our set of directions. And as we get going, I want to point out one thing that's at the top of the sign-up process documentation. And the MyMTSS TA Center, which was previously MyBlissy, we've actually been continuously building and have made the data system available since 2011. So it's been about 10 years that the MyMTSS data system has been around. It keeps getting better, and we're trying to open up and make information about the data system more available to users across the state. But we do have over 200 districts and ISDs in the state who had already signed up to use the data system. So I just want to clarify that right now we are through December of 2020, we're trying to make sure that those districts who had already signed up to use the data system, that they just re-sign their agreement and their commitment to using the data system in the ways that it was intended to be used. That they sign that agreement electronically through the MyDataHub cockpit now that the agreement is available there. That will give us all of the active agreements consolidated in the same spot moving forward. So if you are one of those districts or ISDs that is already using the data system, we just ask that you skip some of these initial steps like the interest form and pop right to having your superintendent just open up the Data Hub cockpit. And Kevin's going to explain that in a bit, and sign the agreement electronically there, and you'll be all set. So the rest of these directions are for districts and ISDs that are signing up brand new to use the data system because they haven't used it at all before. So the first thing that will happen, if that's the case, is that you will access a form to sign up to use the data system. So that form is available here on the MyMTSS data system page of the TA Center website. And it's also available on the login screen. Oops, I'm actually logged in. I'm gonna log out a second. It's available on the login screen down here of the data system itself. So when you click on that link, what you'll see is a really, really brief form. So the form itself could be completed by anyone within the district or ISD. It doesn't have to be the superintendent who completes this form. So for example, a district MTSS coordinator might be the person to sign up to use the data system, or maybe it's a curriculum director who's supporting MTSS. It could be also the superintendent. So the first thing that you'll be asked to do is to select your district or ISD from the list. So you can also type and narrow that because it's a long list. And you're gonna put in today's date, which we're recording this today, November 5th. You're gonna put in your state code, so that 5-digit code for if you're a district, or your 2-digit code if you're an ISD. So I'm just gonna make something up here. And then you're going to say that you're the person who's completing this form. So I'm going to say that I'm testing this, and this is my email address. You're going to fill in your superintendent name and that person's email. And if you have a technology director or someone in a technology support role who's supporting you and will likely need to be aware of and support the data system, we want you to fill in that person's name here. I'm going to go ahead and just put my name in both places right here. And I'm going to say we don't have a technology director right now. And I'm going to click submit. When I do that, I get this thank you message that says what will happen next is that the Data Hub staff are going to activate your agreement in the My Data Hub cockpit. And we try to do that within 1 business day, but sometimes things get busy. So that's our goal. But if you need to contact someone in the meantime, you can always contact support@mydatahub.org. And here's the phone number. And then there's another step that we'll walk through in a minute that explains what happens once you've signed your form in the Data Hub cockpit. Okay, so we get your interest form, and that actually flows to, it kicks an automated email to My Data Hub, and it also populates that same information you completed in the form into this spreadsheet here. So once I submit something, that's going to go right here. And let's see, did it show up for me when I just put in? There it is. Okay, so you can see what I just submitted. And then when Data Hub receives that notification, once they turn on the agreement, they will select agreement available here so that we can kind of track this process. All right, so I'm going to turn things back to Kevin to show you what things look like when you go in to sign in the Data Hub cockpit.
Thanks, Anna. Once you're past that step and you're ready to sign the agreement, the first thing you'll want to do is, and what we'll recommend, is go to the www.mydatahub.org website. From there, we actually have a login screen that will take you to this login here. So what I'm going to do is enter my credentials, which should be your username and your password. I'm going to click the sign in button. And sometimes, varying on if it's your first time, varying on if it's sometimes your second or third time, it could take a little bit, maybe up to 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds just to load all of the Launchpad icons. My Launchpad is going to look a little different than what you will see when you log in. But from right here, what you'll want to do is click the My Data Hub cockpit. And again, I have access with my permissions to see all the districts throughout the state. You will actually start by honing in on what ISD or county you're located in. and then you'll select your district from there. So I know for today's exercise, what I'm going to do is work with our anonymized district, which is Grand Bend District, and that's in the state of Michigan container, or in this case, since it's a test, it's the ISD. So I'm going to click Grand Bend, and then what that's going to do is launch us up to the Data Hub cockpit itself. So now you're in the district level Data Hub cockpit for your district. What you're going to do is scroll to the top left corner under that Agreements tab, pull that down, select Agreement List. And for today's exercise, it's going to look a little different than what you're going to see when you come in here for the first time to sign the agreement. Typically, if an agreement has not been signed and it's waiting to be authorized, you're going to have a pending status. So for today, or for in your situation, what you would do is you'd log in, you'd look for the My MTSS opt-in agreement. It will show a status of pending if it has not been authorized already. In this case, it's rejected because we've already signed it for testing purposes with the My MTSS team. So we had to reject that authorization. So for today's exercise, it will show rejected, but just keep in mind when you look at this and it hasn't been authorized yet, it's going to show a pending status. So what I'm going to do, since I'm a superintendent of Grand Bend District, I'm going to click this View Agreement. From here, you can do a couple different things. You can scroll and navigate through, read specific areas of the agreement. You can print the agreement if you'd like. You can also download it. There's also a download button right here, a little easier to see. And if you click that, that will simply just download the agreement to your local desktop. So you can print it from there and read through it or share it, whatever you'd like to do. If you want to go ahead and authorize the agreement, there's this checkbox here that says I accept the previously, I accept the terms of the agreement. It won't say previously rejected, and in this case it does since we've already accepted it and revoked it. What happens when you select that checkbox, it's going to pull up who your MTSS contact is within your district, or who that person is that's been identified as the MTSS contact within your district. If that person has not been selected, this is where you'll select that person and add their email address and information to select them. Once you've accepted that agreement by selecting the checkbox and your MTSS contact name information looks correct for who that contact is for your local district, go ahead and click Save. And you can always tell that the system's working when you see the spinning cursor up there in Google. So just waiting patiently. And now you can see that the agreement was accepted today, November 5th, by myself as the superintendent. And from here, you can download it. And if you wanted to revoke, which we had to do earlier, you could do that. Real quick, Anna, just before we flip back over, what I wanted to show is back in that agreement list. Now you'll be able to see that the MTSS opt-in agreement has been accepted. It does a timestamp and it says who that signer was of it. Walk through this process fairly quickly. What I did want to let you know is back in the product catalog entry page, again for MTSS, we will have documentation available under this documentation link on how to specifically sign the MTSS agreement in the My Data Hub cockpit. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have that information up there shortly. And that's it from my side, Anna.
Great. So once the superintendent or the designee has signed off in the Data Hub cockpit, then what will happen next is that night, like around 3 a.m., we at the My MTSS TA Center get an automated message from the data system that tells us that an agreement or multiple agreements have been signed the previous day. So then again, we're aiming for within 24 hours, but things do sometimes get busy. But in that time frame, what we're hoping to do is that you'll see a message then from either myself or Candy Drake Cimbelli to confirm that your agreement has been signed. in the My Data Hub cockpit, and Candy will also set up the first group of users, and she'll send email confirmation with directions on how to log in. So the individuals who will get that first confirmation email are the people who were named in the interest form. So the person who completed the interest form, the superintendent, and if a technology director or support person was named, all three of those people would be set up as the first set of ISD or district users, depending on who's signing the agreement. And Candy would send you confirmation that she's done that. And you'll also get an automated message from the data system. From there, she'll flip this to user invitation sent, and we'll know that all of the communication has occurred. And what you should be able to do is then effectively log into the data system following the directions that are in that confirmation email. When you log in, depending on your level of access, whether it's an ISD or district or school level, it'll be ISD or district. When you log in, you'll see your specific ISD or district dashboard, and then you can navigate from there. We're making a set of companion videos as well that provide an overview of how to navigate within the data system and some of the things you'll find within these different sections in the main menu. And we're also developing documentation that will appear up in this corner as page help to help you navigate within specific pages of the data system.